Pakistan is a land of contradictions. It has the world's sixth largest nuclear arsenal, but it needs bailouts from the International Monetary Fund to survive. It is also the epicenter of terrorism. It hosts 150 banned terror groups and periodically embarks on counter-terrorism operations against terrorists it doesn't like. This is the classic good terrorists versus bad terrorists paradigm. Now, on the 22nd of June, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif announced his country was launching yet another terrorist operation, yet another counter-terrorist operation. Azam-e-Istekam, meaning the resolve of durable stability. Now, this is Pakistan's 19th such operation over the last 2 decades. We're asking 5 big questions today. Question number 1, can Pakistan fight 3 fronts? Afghanistan, India, and the bad terrorists within. Question number 2, why does China want Pakistan to act against bad terrorists? Question number 3, does the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or the CPEC have a future? Question number 4, General Asim Munir, the most powerful man in Pakistan today, his term ends in 2025. Will he stay on or continue to fight the bad terrorists? And finally, question number 5, will there be a border war between the Taliban in Afghanistan and Pakistan? Joining me to discuss this today are Mr. Avinash Monani, former DGP, Sikkim Police, a long-time Pakistan watcher, and my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Mr. Monani, I want to start by asking you, this new counter-terrorism operation, Pakistan embarks on one every few years. There have been almost 20 such operations over the last 2 decades at roughly the rate of one every year. Why is this operation different from the previous ones? That the fact that China is now in the picture has added something extra to this particular operation?
Look, this is the first time that any operation is being launched to satisfy the demand of Chinese leadership. It's not only, as you rightly said, that Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Army Chief Asim Munir visited China. But the demand from China are very clear, that were clearly articulated by a follow-up delegation that visited Pakistan a few days later, in which was headed by international relationship minister of Chinese Communist Party and a member of the Central Committee of the party, Liu Chao. So that man bring out 2 issues that he says are the crucial for Pakistan's stability in all respects. Number 1 is the unity among the political parties. All should be united on how to take Pakistan ahead. Number 2, he said, the internal security situation. There are 2 major challenges that Pakistan faces. Asim Munir had successfully organized the presence of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf delegation in that meeting. But once that meeting was over, the Chinese delegation left. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf delegation says that we are not part of this this new operation that Asim Munir is launching. And it can only come once we have a proper briefing in the parliament. And no apex committee headed by Shahbaz Sharif can take a decision without parliament being involved into it. Basically, it is chickening out of the Asim Munir's project of keeping Chinese in good humor so that the CPEC investment comes. The problem with Pakistan is that it is running out of the foreign exchange reserves. Yes. What it wanted from Chinese delegation, China visit was that its loans should be deferred or loans should be rescheduled so that Pakistan doesn't have to pay the interest and the loan repayment. But what Chinese in turn offered was CPEC2. They said we are willing to invest more money so that your balance of payment situation shores up. You are better placed. But for that, you have to improve your law and order situation and also bring a unity among the political parties. This is where the issue right now rests. So, will it be successful? Yes, I think like previous operations, it will also have a ballooning effect. You more press the balloon on the Pakistan side, it will
Yes.
go, the people will cross over to Afghanistan. And the moment you reduce the pressure, you can't maintain your continuous presence in Northwest Frontier Province or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. So at some point of time, you have to reduce the presence. Once you reduce the presence, they will again come in back, irrespective of the fact that almost 90% of the border is fenced with Afghanistan. So it won't be successful in that terms. Yes, it can give a temporary reprieve in terms of number of incidents probably going down.
A temporary reprieve. But Aditya, you're looking at Pakistan today that's basically fighting on three fronts. You have a Afghanistan front where they seem to have angered the Taliban, their former proteges. You have the India front, which they have reactivated now with Jammu, the terror attacks that we've seen there in Jammu, an area which didn't see a lot of Pakistan terrorist activity. And finally, this internal security situation, which they have now launched, Azam-e-Istekam. What are the challenges before Asim Munir, apart from these three fronts that he's fighting? How is he balancing this whole thing?
You know, firstly, there's nothing new. This has been happening for over 20 years, Sandeep. We've observed this. You know, every military operation is given a new name by a new army chief or
Right.
a ISI chief. This is Istikam, a durable, you know, peace or stability that they
Right.
want. And in the past, another similarity has been that it has been done to convince the foreign powers.
Yes.
In the past, mostly US or the
It
Western
was the United
powers.
States and
this
now
time
it's
China,
China.
and the
Right.
IMF.
Right.
Really to reprieve them of the loans.
Yes.
There are major large chunk investments that are pending for the
Right.
second round of funding of the CPEC.
Yes.
So for that as well, to convince the Chinese, because there was a warning, in fact, a repeated warning that came in not just in internal meetings,
Yes.
but more lately in a public meeting in which the political parties' representatives were told by the head of the CPC's international wing that one, we require security, we require that you challenge and neutralize the threat. Second,
Yes.
you have a political stability in Pakistan. Third, you create a business environment which is
Right.
friendly towards investors who are losing patience, the Chinese investors
Yes.
who are really losing patience. And finally, also have a CPEC which is media friendly. So this really requires a lot of rigorous activity by the Pakistani deep state
Yes.
to have some perhaps front page headlines which are positive to CPEC and the Chinese interests in Pakistan. But as I said, this has been happening for a very long time. This is almost like, you know, the same plan reinvented in some way.
Yes.
But as you mentioned in your question, Sandeep, that my priority or my understanding is that the TTP is a possible major challenge,
Right.
which is difficult to confront. On the India front, I'm not surprised because there's been a ceasefire underway for more than 3 years. I personally do not see a surge, but I do see a tactical shift, a change from Kashmir towards south of the Pir Panjal,
Right.
towards, you know, even Kathua and the international border. That is something that the Indian government, the intelligence agencies and the security will have to work out.
Right.
But TTP and Afghanistan is a possible major challenge for Pakistan to handle, because in the last year itself, in 700 attacks, there have been more than 1,000 killings.
Yes.
The TTP has warned that these killings will intensify. Every single day, there are perhaps lone wolf attacks that are happening in Pakistan, where people have been gunned down south of Waziristan, the Fatah area. And the TTP warns that this will only intensify. And we've seen in the past, the Sharifs
Yes.
have not been always on the same page with the Pakistan army.
Yes.
So to create a business-friendly environment is something that, you know, Sharifs would want. They
Right.
have that kind of a bent of mind.
Yes.
But to work in the same page as Asim Munir and Rawalpindi would be a major challenge.
It's a major challenge, and in fact, I think now their priorities have expanded. Earlier, it was only the security. The Pakistan military only handled the security side of things. Now they
Yes.
have to handle the economy as well. So that's a big challenge indeed for General Munir. But Mr. Maunani, you know, this China-Pakistan economic corridor, when it came up, it was meant to be this solution for all of Pakistan's economic worries over a decade ago. They said it would actually, give a strong steel economic backbone to Pakistan. It would revive their economy. A decade later, has it met any of these original objectives of what it had set out to do, this $40 billion backbone that they were talking of? Today, it's like, Chinese engineers being targeted as they were in March, and of course the Chinese are worried. But has it delivered on its initial promise?
Sandeep, let us be very clear. This was not intended, but it was made out that it is for the benefit of the Pakistanis.
Right.
It was basically intended for supplying energy requirements to the western side of the Chinese mainland. So it was a fast way to move the energy from Gwadar port to Xinjiang and beyond that, those areas. So they didn't have anything in the mind that it will help in the economic development of Pakistan. That was not the case. Inside that that is why the problem occurs. Because the people in Balochistan, people in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they say that what did we get out of CPEC? Tell us.
Right.
Nothing. The major agitation in Gwadar was because the Chinese trawler were picking up all the livestock, fisheries livestock, and transporting it to the mainland China.
Right.
Even the fishermen were not catching a single fish there in the nearby. Then you have made a bund for the smooth movement of the ships. Now, because of that, last year we had floods in Gwadar. And the temporary tenements or small kacha places, they got all demolished because of that. So this is not a development that the Balochistan people and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa people had asked for. Neither has it benefited. Otherwise, this Pakistan would not have been in that turmoil. It was basically to serve strategic, economic, and those interests of China, so that China could have easy access from the Gulf for its energy requirement. And that is why it has not been successful. CPEC has not been successful in Pakistan. But the problem with the China is that this CPEC is the first flagship program of BRI.
Yes.
Now if this fails, how does China attract the other countries to join BRI? So that is the biggest issue that China is facing. And the problem that China underestimated in Pakistan was that it will face resistance from the Baloch separatists. They thought that the resistance would come from the Islamist groups in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or maybe Gilgit-Baltistan and those areas. But it is getting resistance from, by and large, I would call it secular Baloch separatists. That had not been factored into by China. The whole CPEC passes through largely from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and then Balochistan. And there it faces the resistance.
Right. There it faces resistance. And Aditya, this is a story that you've covered very closely over the last 2 years. Balochistan, Bangladesh 2.0, that series on News9 Plus. What does it look like now, the future of the CPAC? As Mr. Morani pointed out, it's a very bleak prognosis for this, but the Chinese will still go at it because it is Xi Jinping's project. It's the crown jewel of the Belt and Road Initiative. Will the Chinese focus on the CPAC outlast the insurgencies on the ground, the Baloch separatists, the TTP attacking it?
See, one thing is very clear, Sandeep, that the CPEC is certainly not going by the plan of Beijing when they started almost a decade ago.
Right.
The kind of attacks that they've faced, the kind of resistance that has been there, and of course, the economic returns haven't really been there the way they had really thought. They have to pump in a lot of money at the cost of not seeing any possible returns, really. So this is a strategic maneuvering that the Chinese are bound to do and continue as of now. But as I said, that the people of Balochistan are certainly not with it. Daily, I've been receiving statements from the Baloch rebel groups who say that we have attacked this point, that point, actually targeting the frontier corps, possible elements of the Pakistani military and the deep state in that entire area. In these last 2 years and 2.5 years itself, we have seen the massive attacks, in fact, the maximum attacks taking place against the Pakistani military. So things are not hunky-dory. Of course, I'm not stating that in the next perhaps a decade or so there will be freedom for the Baloch people. It's not realistic. But continuous attacks, continuous unsafe environment for Chinese engineers. Look at the level of attacks that have happened against the Chinese.
In March, there was that suicide attack.
Absolutely.
Against
and
the Chinese
this is also
engineers.
as a result of the Taliban really coming in Afghanistan, because Pakistan has been confronting the Taliban regime in Afghanistan that these are people who are coming from across the border, doing the attack, doing the recce, and then leaving. So this is putting the Afghanistan-Pakistan relations in turmoil as well. And certainly the Afghanistan, and of course the Taliban has nothing to lose in this. There have been talks at the border near the Durand line to no avail. There hasn't been any kind of consensus. And you've seen the kind of firing that's been underway. Unprecedented in many ways.
Unprecedented, and you have the Afghan Taliban with their own proxies, the Pakistan Taliban, Mr. Morani, which brings me to the man at the center of it all, General Asim Munir. Now his time runs out end of next year, 2025. He has a little over a year left as Army Chief. Do you believe, studying this general, very unusual among the recent Army Chiefs that we've had, he's not as high profile as Rahil Sharif or even Bajwa, General Bajwa. Very quiet guy, flies below the radar, but super ambitious and focused in what he does. What do you think is the future for General Munir? Would he stay on in power as Pakistan Army Chief? Because Pakistan Army Chiefs believe they are God's gift to the country and they anoint themselves with tenures. Do you see him as continuing beyond 2025, or is it going to be too much for him to handle?
Look, if given a chance, Asim Munir will continue till eternity. So it's not that, this is true of the Indian bureaucracy also. You see that one extension after another, another after another. Who is going away? Nobody is going away. So that is true of Asim Munir also. Given the chance, he will take 3 years more. Like Bajwa after 6 years was still eyeing for another year or another 2 years tenure. So for him also the same issue, same things. Humans are same, whether it is Indians or Pakistanis, they are same. So he would like his state to go beyond 2025, but it all depends on how things shape up within Pakistan and how the military civil equations go on. Still a lot of time to go. We have seen the developments in Pakistan post February 8 elections, which were, everybody knows, were hugely rigged in favor of Shehbaz Sharif and his party, or the Nawaz Sharif and his party. So he is unable to get Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf in control. That is causing a concern, because even in this meeting where what I was talking about, the Chinese delegation, he somehow managed their presence there, but 2 days later they said that we are not part of any Azm-e-Istikam operation, not at all. They said that we are, till it comes to Parliament, there is a briefing in Parliament, discussion in Parliament, till then we are not in it. So he is not able to get Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf around him. Then he has not been able to successfully break it. He has not been successful in doing the manipulation that he thought would be easy as happened in the history of Pakistan earlier. So with these all handicaps, he is tied in a difficult position. But then all military dictators find themselves in that condition. The problem is, right now, Shehbaz Sharif can't afford to lose him. He has to hold on to apparent strings of Asim Munir. So he'll do what Asim Munir says. The moment Asim Munir moves away from Shehbaz, the whole government of Pakistan collapses. The present government collapses. There is absolutely no chance of Shehbaz Sharif surviving as the Prime Minister. Not at all.
No chance of, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif surviving. And the man at the center, as you mentioned, Mr. Morani, is General Asim Munir, who, the man given a chance would like to continue for eternity. But guiding his actions in the recent months has been the C factor. That's China and the CPEC, where he's launched yet another counter-terrorist operation to tackle them. But as Mr. Monani pointed out, it is the I factor that's the elephant in the room, the Imran Khan factor, and the PTI that's actually going to hang on his tenure and will actually determine whether he, successfully ends it in 2025 or seeks some more time until 2028, or who knows, even beyond that. But thank you very much. That's a discussion for another day. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us this evening on Pakistan's three-front war and General Asim Munir, the man in the middle. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Monani, and my colleague Aditya Rajkaul.